What's up, friends? I'm going to make weird faces at you for just a second, just because sometimes that's what you got to do. My dog one time told me life is too short not to be making weird faces at people. Well, cool, brothers and sisters of the earth. I'm glad you could be hanging with me tonight. And so how we play this game is realizing apparently it's not a game, but it's a discussion. And you are welcome to ask me anything. I'd be more than happy to be as transparent as you'd like me to be, whether your curiosities are about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of your shadow self, the pursuit of your healing, your curiosities, your musings, anything about me personally. Chances are I won't know any of your answers to your questions, but I'm happy to make stuff up to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. So with that said, I'm going to do my best to get to as many of your comments as I possibly can, and I'll do my best to be kind of brief and to the point. I can get long-winded sometimes. Sometimes I got to get long-winded so I can feel more important about myself. So which that said, whatever that means, JP, you jerk. Let's see what's happening here on the message board. By the way, hello everybody, and I love all the comments, and I love the reptilian discussion before we jumped on live. That's necessary for sure. So let's see. Let me try and comments are moving fast. Let me try and get a little coherent here. How do I find my spirit vegetable? It's a good question. My experience is your spirit vegetable always finds you. It's not something you choose. It's something it will choose you. And you'll know it when it's choosing you. How will you know? I don't know. But you'll know when you know. You better write that down. That's profound right there. JP, I like leafy. Did you know that? I did not know that. Thank you, Grahamium. It's a cool name. Nicholas, thank you for your question, asks, what are my views on weed and do I smoke? I do not. It's not my thing. I've actually only smoked weed once in my life. That was in September 2007. Wonderful experience, terrible reaction the next day, broke out in horrible itchy hives, itchiest I've ever been. Even itchier than when I had chickenpox when I was a kid. So yeah, totally not my thing, and I'm all for people doing what they want or don't want with it. I do think it's something that can easily be abused. I think there's a little bit of a counter culture who kind of likes to stick their head in the sand and believe, well, because it's not a drug, you can't abuse it. I think you can easily, if you rely on anything, whether it's weed or any kind of behavior practice substance that you use regularly, I dare say it may be working against you rather than for you. It's my delusional opinions. Daniel Magana asks, what do I think about vegans? I'm all for people, and I don't care what people call themselves. I am pro-people. So yeah, for sure. So the fact that vegans are actually people, I love people. The world needs more acceptance of people. But what do I think of the practice of veganism that the people called vegans practice? Actually, honestly, like weed, I am all for someone using a practice, veganism in this case, if it works for them. And if it's not working for them, then I would say, man, that might not be a good idea for you. And I think nobody's going to tell us, is it working for us or not, other than our own self. And I will say, I think our nutrient needs are incredibly driven by the wisdom of our body. I don't think our nutrient needs are driven by our mental concept of what we want to serve our body best. I think the source of wisdom that dictates our nutrient needs comes from a far wiser source than our beady little human mind. So I think sometimes, whether it's veganism, like, oh, I want to be vegan even though it might be working against me, or I want to be paleo even though like eating all that meat's working against me. I think as people have a mental attachment to the eating philosophy and the reasons why to eat that philosophy, it can very easily start to work against them. That's called attachment. The Buddha would say, don't be attached. And I would say the Buddha is pretty attached to not being attached. So do as I say, not as the Buddha does. Cam asks, am I familiar with John Sakars? I am not. Trenton, Big Bang or creationism? What if that's all the same thing? Depending on what you call creationism, how it's defined by other people, that's not my thing. Which brand of essential oils do I use? Oh man, I have some in my bathroom right now. I forget the brand name. And I'm not just refusing to give a free endorsement. I forget. They come in kind of like a square bottle, white cap. How specific is that? You're welcome for that answer. It's so helpful. Are the Nazis in Antarctica? It's a great question. I definitely don't know. I've never seen proof that they're not there. Let's just put it that way. JP, do you astral project? Maybe. Part of me wants to say no, but I might just be in denial of the fact that I do astral project. So I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. Maybe I'm astral projecting right now. Maybe your computer, your phone isn't actually hooked up to the internet, but I am astrally projecting this broadcast. Think about that. Try and prove that that's not true is what I'll ask you to do. LT asks, vanilla or chocolate? 75% of the time chocolate, 25% of the time vanilla. It's a winning combination. Do I believe in sunscreen? And I missed the last part of your comment. But do I believe in sunscreen? I do believe it exists. I personally don't like using sunscreen. And personally, you can see I set world records for how Caucasian I am. So I have to be incredibly careful about how much sun I get. So I just, I don't like the way sunscreen feels on me. And I know there's some alternative health philosophy talks about how sunscreen actually works against you and leaves you less protected. I don't have any opinion on that other than to have the opinion that other people have the opinion of that. But I'm just more of a natural shade kind of guy, protect my Caucasian self. What is my opinion on makeup? I love it. My opinion is all women look better without makeup. I'm definitely, natural with a capital N. I'm all for women using makeup if it's meaningful to them. But if they're saying, JP, do I look better with makeup or without makeup? 100% of the time without makeup. Let's see. Daniel asked, Donald Trump, ? Man, that's a great question. Probably not even Donald Trump can answer that one. Question I saw, Aloizo asked, how do I research and write my videos? Great question. My serious videos, I just look at a viewer's question and talk to the camera. The ultra spiritual comedy videos, how I research them is I look at the dogma I have in my own life and the dogma in the community surrounding me, which is probably just all my own dogma that I'm projecting outward. So I look at dogma, intolerance, and forces of rejection of other people that are disguised under the altruistic mask of lovely philosophies, spirituality, nutrition, religion. So anyway, I look for those sort of shadows that are hidden under the convenient hiding spots of just righteousness. And I like to shine the light on those. So I think straight up just observation is how I research my videos, but honestly, a lot of it is self-observation. I'm calling myself out on a lot of the videos being I don't like the word guilt, but very guilty of things that I portray. Connie asked, can I have a hug? Hell yeah, you can have a hug. As soon as our paths cross, I'll give you the physical version of that. Do I use crystals? I don't. Not against crystals. I just don't use them. I have a crystal somewhere. So another question, do I believe in Teal Swan? Again, I do believe she exists, and I've talked with her, and I think she's awesome. And not to be in denial, I know there's a lot of controversy that's drummed up by people around her, so which I don't get into the details of it. I have a lot of respect for her as a person and for her bringing beautiful light to this world. And I will say, anyone who fools themselves into believing that someone we call a spiritual teacher, leader, authority, whatever kind of label you want to put it, but anybody who fools themselves into believing that that person, that spiritual teacher, doesn't have an ego that's dysfunctional as hell, just like everybody else's ego, then I would say that person's fooling themselves. I don't think anybody can deceive us other than our own self. So, you know, some of the controversy of Teal deceives people, like, I don't feel the need to buy into that. I do believe that people deceive themselves about who someone else is. If you put someone on a pedestal, the joke is always on you. If you're seeing someone as an equal, I don't think there's much of a joke. There's maybe more reality there. Let's see, Luke Taylor asks, you intelligent bloke. Luke, the comment left the screen faster than I could get it. Sorry, brother. Thank you for being on, Luke. Chio something, was Jesus black? Great question. Probably wasn't a white guy hanging around in the Middle East long before planes were in existence. Let's see, I'm gonna, My Delight asks, vegan, question mark. I am, man, hope I'm not screwing this up. I am not a vegan, I'm just a human. Though I will say, I'm an equal opportunity employer for diet, so I actually do eat a vegan diet. I also just eat a carnivore diet simultaneously. Let's see. What do I feed bald dogs? Man, I'm going to meditate on that question for about 5 years and probably still not have an answer. Man bun or cinnamon? I'll go man bun any day of the week. You can bet your man bun on that. Do you believe in afterlife? I do, in the sense that our afterlife, I believe, is just a continuation of life. We pass through maybe what the afterlife would call another birth canal, where we thought we were going to a certain death as we died what we call our current life death. But maybe just like a fetus being born out of a human birth canal who thinks it's, or feels as though it's going towards a certain death, here on the other side, we say, welcome to a life greater and more expansive than what you were just in. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're born into something greater in that which we call the afterlife. Could be dead wrong on that, but it makes a good story that makes me feel good about myself. Best way to calm anxiety? That's a lovely question. For me, breathing deeply. There's no substitute for that. The more shallow we breathe, the more it heightens our autonomic nervous system stress response. And the more that gets heightened, the more we just naturally want to breathe shallower, which just makes a vicious cycle. So, you know, I think intentionally breathing deeply, probably won't heal the underlying cause of the anxiety, but I think it's pretty groovy to help calm the surface of it. Why do I wear a beard? It's a good question. Part of me wants to say, well, I just like the way I look. And another part of me probably thinks it symbolizes something. Yeah, for me, the look of a beard, it symbolizes wisdom and maturity. And I started wearing a beard. Wearing a beard, that's a weird way to say it, I think, when I hear myself say it. And talking about this is weird. But anyway, I started wearing a beard, and I believe it was 2007. And that's when I was like, what the hell was I? So I was 26 at the time. And that's when I was starting to travel around and teach different workshops and classes. And I was typically the youngest one in the room teaching. So I definitely insecure. So I wanted to look a little bit more mature and older than I looked so that I could trick people into taking me seriously. So that's why I think I originally started wearing a beard. I don't know if that's true for me anymore. Donuts or lettuce? If it's not iceberg lettuce, then lettuce. If it's iceberg lettuce, then donuts. Let's see. Have you taken a psychedelic before? I have. Let's see. Apparently enough of them that my brain is not synaptically functioning. Let's see, in 2006, I took DMT, dimethyltryptamine, 3 times. And then in 2007, took LSD 3 times. And I have felt no inner calling to go back to psychedelics. It would actually scare me if I use psychedelics regularly. It actually scares me when anybody uses psychedelics regularly. And all I know is right now and for the past 9 years, my heart has told me, like, it's not for me. I had whatever experience I needed. Future, the wind might blow me in a different decision. Miriam asks, is that girl in your videos my girlfriend? Depends on which videos. One, I don't have a girlfriend right now, so single. Let's see, the girlfriend that was in some of my videos, we broke up about 4 months ago. So some of the, like for instance, there's an ultra spiritual video called Dating Spiritual People. That was my girlfriend at the time. Lovely lady, Deanna. We're still friends. And the most recent video, what the hell's that called? If Meat Egan's acting like, if Meat Egan's, it's me trying to rush my words. If meat eaters acted like vegans, that's Deanna Eisenman, a different Deanna. And that's my good friend Daniel Eisenman's wife. So she is sure as hell not my girlfriend, but a lovely friend. Let's just see here. Slow down, Daddy. Not sure if you're talking to me, but I'll take that, yeah. Most interesting Byron Bay experience. Oh, I love that. Let's see. Man, if you don't know Byron Bay, Australia, I was just there in April for about 3 weeks, and it's kind of the spiritual capital of the world. I actually made a video about it called Byron Bay, the most spiritual place in the world. Check that out if you want. I'd say the most interesting experience for me, it would be I literally met hundreds of people, maybe more than that, who would just come up to me and want to meet me, recognizing me from my videos. And that whole collective was a beautiful experience. I felt being in Byron Bay and some other places I've been, but Byron Bay specifically right now, it just felt like I was in this nurturing womb where the whole community just had its hands out saying, like, you're accepted here, JP. So that was like super trippy in a super amazing way. Appreciate you asking. I love Byron Bay. Let's see. Who is the most spiritual modern celebrity, besides J.P. Sears, of course? Well said. Wow, the most spiritual modern celebrity. Making me feel thoughtful on that. You know, part of me likes to look at comedians. I think Louis C.K. is one of the first people that come to mind, so I'm not going to discount that. Louis C.K. There's my answer. Is liking things a bad thing? It's a great question. I don't think so. I think anything has a shadow side. So liking things kind of means we're attached to them. Not letting ourselves like things, I think, means we're attached to not letting ourselves like things. I like liking things. Some people like not liking things, and not liking things becomes the thing that they like. Maybe you can't escape it. Cats or dogs? Dogs. Most embarrassing story. Ooh. Wow, that's... Here's what comes to my mind. When I was in 7th grade, during the lunch hour at school, I was holding hands. Yeah, you heard me right. I went all the way to hold a girl's hand. So holding hands with my girlfriend, and my arousal started. And I was wearing just these loose athletic shorts, and everybody could see how aroused I was holding my girlfriend's hand. And I didn't live that down for quite a while. That was definitely embarrassing. Good old sexual shame. You gotta love that. Do chemtrails kill us? That's interesting. I have no idea. And I do wonder if chemtrails are, yeah, I wonder about that. I don't want to brush that off and say, oh, no, damn conspiracy theorists. Nor do I want to just buy into it and conspiracy theorists and start conspiring against them. I'm super curious about that myself. Let's see. I apologize if you're hearing me silent. I'm trying to slow down these comments so that I can actually read. How do you deal with bullies? Man, that's a great question. I think it completely depends on the context, you know, what the situation is. If it's any kind of online bullying, I mean, the most effective strategy I think possible is do not engage, period. Don't be seduced into proving and defending yourself. Don't be seduced into a debate. There's always, any kind of perpetrator always has a seductive element to lure their victim in so that they can prey on them. And you know, in a real life setting, if it's like school, for example, dealing with a bully, or even if it's at work, I do think that going to authority figures, be it the school principal or a superior at work, to share what's happening is important. And the old cliche cop-out that says, well, you're a tattletale, that is a mechanism, that's an intimidating mechanism created by bullies to keep their victims in the position of a victim. In other words, I will shame you if you try to get out of the position of being a victim by pulling in the authority figures that will threaten my status, being able to perpetrate you, me, the bully. So I would say don't buy into the bully propaganda called tattletalism, and tell the authorities, ask for help, be needy, know that you need to receive support from the powers that are greater than your current position. There is no shame in that. There's not much that I'm dogmatically against in life, but bullying is one of them. I have no time for bullies. It's hard for me to be compassionate with bullies, even though I absolutely know they are people with terrible pain inside, projecting it out and trying to belittle their pain projected onto other people so that they can feel a temporary sense of escaping their pain. Even though I know that I got no time for bullies. The meaning of life, that's a great question. I think the meaning of life is to live life, not search for the meaning of life. I don't think the meaning of life is looking for the meaning of life. I think it's living life. If I drink an expired poison, can I still die? That's an interesting question. All I know is don't try that. How did I get the idea to do these YouTube videos? I'll speak specifically with the comedy videos. I just let my natural sense of humor start to come out on camera. It's something that I was restricting for quite a while because I made up a story that people wouldn't accept it, that it would be bad for business. I do emotional healing work. People won't take me seriously in my business. So, luckily, that story kind of expired itself. And I started letting my natural sense of humor married with my perspective. My perspective delivered through the messenger of my sense of humor. So with my videos, really, the comedy videos, really all they are is me sharing my perspective through the messenger of my sense of humor. And typically my perspective is about the perspectives that people seem to be relatively blind to. At least that's my perspective of my perspectives, of the perspectives that other people are blind to. You with me? Let's see. Do I watch Rick and Morty? I have no idea who they are. I actually don't have a TV. If they're on TV, then I definitely don't watch them. If they're on YouTube, then I still don't watch them, but I'd be interested. Toe shoes versus regular shoes. Wow, so this is the question of the century. I do wear toe shoes when I exercise. I feel like a dork, and I think that's exactly why I like wearing them. Let's see. What is my favorite essential oil? I'll say lavender just to sound decisive. How much do I make from YouTube? That incredibly varies each month. Like this month with the recent meat eater vegan video having gone viral, it will be probably a few $1,000s, maybe more. Part of me feels this restriction, like we're not supposed to talk about money, but screw it, I like transparency and I don't like to conform to social secretism, if that's even a word. So yeah, I would guess it'd be a handful of thousands of dollars this month. Oftentimes it's like $700 a month. How long have I been married? Exactly 0 minutes and 0 seconds. I'm not married. Do any of you guys want to marry me? Maybe we should auction off a marriage with JP for this live broadcast. It would be, that would set a precedent. Let's just see. How to get a girlfriend. Great question. So, coming from a single guy, this is going to be probably the most unqualified, worst advice you could possibly receive. So here's the worst advice, but I think it's actually the best advice. I'm conflicted. Be yourself. I think oftentimes when we're trying to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, we think we should be the person that person wants us to be. So we try to be someone who we're not in order to impress someone. And I would dare say, even if we get into a relationship, it's not based on us being in a relationship with them. It's who we're pretending to be is in a relationship with them. So I think the more you can be yourself, the more the right person for you can find you. The more you're acting like someone else because you hold this story that you think someone else is more desirable than you, then the right person for you cannot find you because you're not presenting you to the world. Our greatest strength comes when we're being ourselves. Stamp that. I've never encountered a situation where I don't think that's true. Definitely encountered plenty of situations where I haven't allowed myself to be myself, but I think that's incredibly true. What self are you? Thank you, Dog Days. It's a great question. I would dare say whoever I think I am is who I'm not. It was a super indirect way of answering your question that I don't completely understand. Let's see. Thoughts on Jehovah's Witnesses? I don't have many thoughts about them other than I don't think I am one. Did people who say YOLO die off? Stephen Stinson, I love the irony of your question. That is beautiful, brother. I hope we can all soak in that wisdom. Sam Katz asks, Donald Trump is coming to my town tomorrow. What should I do? That's a good question. I would ask you to consider being prepared to know that you're looking at a big facade. Nothing against Trump personally, it's just something about all politicians, in my delusional opinion. Takes one to know one. I think I facade a lot. That's probably why I see other people facading. Whether they do or not, I'm not sure. It's just that's how they appear to me. Should I eat an extra dessert? Average Librarian Studios. That's an intriguing screen name. Should you eat an extra dessert, I would definitely consult your higher self with that. Let's see here. Apologize for the little delay in our programming as these comments are taking me a little while to stabilize. Maybe auctioning yourself off to be married is not really self-loving, JP. LOOL. I don't know what the double O's mean. Laugh outrageously out loud? But I'd agree with you. I'll auction myself off anyway. Sometimes when you're on a cliff, you can see, there's no water down there. I'm gonna jump anyway to see what happens. How many marriage proposals on YouTube am I willing to accept today? No more than 19. Matt, here's an important question. Where the heck did that go? JP, size, length, girth. Yes. What's my Instagram? It is at AwakenWithJP. Trump or Hillary? I don't have any pull towards either of them. I think I'm gonna write in the Dalai Lama for my vote. A. Anderson asks, do I have any hobbies? I think in a word, no. I work a lot. I love creating, which is a part of my work. And I'm typically working from sun up till almost the time I go to bed. Super dysfunctional, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to justify it. That doesn't leave too much in the way of hobbies. And I get to travel quite a bit to speak and perform at different events and conferences. So I like to travel, and that's kind of a hobby by default. But yeah, actually, there's a little bit of one-dimensionality to me. It would be nutritious for me to have a hobby, other than all the hobbies that I do have that are lumped together into what I call work, which feels like play. Is work really work if it feels like play? You sit with that. Do I shop at Whole Foods? About a third of the time I shop at Whole Foods. The closest Whole Foods from me is about 20 minutes away. There's a closer health food store that's about 10 minutes away. that isn't as pleasant of an experience as Whole Foods. So I like to go to Whole Foods better. That's not just a blanket corporate endorsement. It's just like I personally like the experience of Whole Foods, but the other one's closer. So I get to Whole Foods about a third of the time. Would I want to be married soon? Not necessarily. In fact, actually, no. Right now, I feel it's incredibly purposeful for me to be single and unmarried. It lets me be dysfunctionally devoted to my work and growing what I do. Thoughts on ayahuasca? Very similar. If you were on Emma at the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned my thoughts on weed, where nothing inherently against it and nothing inherently for it. I've got really no dogmas. I think it's a very sacred plant. I think actually all plants are sacred for that matter. And I think it's powerful. And I think anything that's powerful can be used for us or against ourselves. And I think really our mindset behind it is significantly important. So yeah, for me, my biggest thoughts on ayahuasca are, what are the reasons you're doing it? That's what's important in my opinion. Doing it because everybody else is, doing it because it's trendy, for me is a big, big caution. And it's a cool sounding word though, isn't it? Ayahuasca. It's like that could almost be a style of yoga, like Ashtanga and Vinyasa and ayahuasca. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create my own style of yoga called ayahuasca. It's a transcendental experience. I saw one, do I get flack from vegans? I think it said. Some. And I've also been very pleasant. It's been very pleasant to receive a lot of praise from vegans as well. So essentially any kind of video I put out, I always will get flack from whoever sees themselves in the mirror. And I always get praise from whoever sees themselves from the mirror. Pancakes or waffles? Neither. Gluten-free. Gluten-free pancakes are pretty good though. Yeah, gluten-free pancakes. Screw gluten-free waffles. Yeah, I don't get it. Like all the divots. It just seems like, you know, that's unnecessary real estate that's been altered in the surface area of the, what, bread? Are they made out of bread? Conglomeration of miscellaneous flours is what they're made out of. Do I like sex? Yeah. Have you been to Canada? Yes, I've been to Canada, I'm sure at least 6 times. British Columbia, Calgary, Toronto a number of times, Calgary a number of times, Montreal. Yeah, I've done a little Canadian ventures. What is my opinion on faith healers or faith healing? It's a great question. My opinion is that even if the healer was legit, and I think that's probably dependent on the healer, if that's not the safest statement of the century, I don't know what would be. So it depends on the healer, and I would dare say, if a person is giving their power away to the faith healer or whatever the kind of healer they call themselves, then that's ultimately a disempowering position to be in, I believe. Let's see. How does being a ginger impair my life? Shorter periods of exposure to the sun is how it impairs my life. My people have been through a lot, but we're going to keep fighting. Let's see. Javen asked, will you answer this question? Question mark. Yes, I will. I think I just did. What is my star sign? I'm in Aries. Hello from South Africa. Hey there, South African lovely people. Thank you for joining. By the way, for the rest of you that aren't from South Africa, thank you for joining me. I really enjoy hanging out with you and getting to interact in a way, reading the comments that come through so fast that it makes me feel like I'm having a mental breakdown, which is liberating. So anyway, I'm glad all you guys are here hanging out, listening to me speak incoherently about very coherent questions. I love it. Do I have sex with women that I am not in a committed monogamous relationship with? I'm not inherently opposed to it. It's really not been my thing, though. Yeah. Yeah, it's just not really it happened once. Let's see. Do people call me a ginger Jesus? Some do. Especially my friend Jeremy Tracy from Canada, of all places, referenced a few questions ago. Are you 100% pure spiritual being? And I missed the rest of the question. Man, that's great. Theoretically, I'd say yes, and our human suit is absolutely part of our spiritual essence as well. So there's nothing but spirit, so there's nothing but spiritual beings. And my more earthly answer would be I'm significantly human and doing my best to allow the light of my spirit or whatever the hell comes from, wherever the hell things come from, doing my best to allow that to have a spot in my life too. Let's see. Do I like planes? I tolerate planes. I like where planes take me. The experience of being on a plane, if I have an aisle seat, it's okay. If it's a window seat, I don't like it. Airports, not a big fan. I'd rather be on a plane than in an airport. Seems a little weird, but that's how I am. Can I be spiritual in the bathroom? Absolutely. You can definitely watch my ultra spiritual videos on your phone while you're in your bathroom. And in fact, if you're not doing that, then I have a question for you. Why are you wasting your life? So with that, would I eat whale meat? I would not. Let's see. JP Sears Shambhala, yes or no? I'm not really sure what Shambhala is referring to in this context. It might just be my ignorance of what the actual meaning of the word is, so I don't know. What's the difference between normal sex and spiritual sex? Spiritual sex is where you have candles lit around the bed or yoga mat. Do I ever feel in personal danger from radical vegans? Mostly giraffes. I mean, those giraffes are some of the most vicious animals, and anytime I go outside, I am very hypervigilant of the danger of giraffes. And I can tell you my hypervigilance is 100% effective because I haven't been killed by a vegan giraffe yet. So thank God for my giraffe vigilance. JP, how can I find the courage to overcome my fears? It's a great question. I won't pretend like I can give you just a trivialized answer that'll be meaningful or effective for you. Yet if I could just offer a crumb, for me, one of the most important steps to continually work on our journey of overcoming our fears is allow ourselves to feel uncomfortable. Oftentimes, in my opinion, what paralyzes us with our fears is we become really afraid of feeling uncomfortable if we were to, go into whatever the situation is or the experience. So it's like we think we're afraid of the experience, but I would dare say maybe the deeper fear is we're afraid of how we'll feel in the experience. So doing our best to become very friendly with our discomfort, in my opinion, is important. Brene Brown, a lovely author, she writes a lot on vulnerability. I've actually never read any of her books, but I do know a quote of hers. I love listening to her on podcasts. So a quote of hers that I'll throw at you real quick is, "He or she who is most willing to be uncomfortable is not only the bravest, but also rises the highest." And for me, rises the highest, what that means is we're willing to make progress in our life, going into uncharted territories. So because Brene Brown said, whoever's willing to be the most uncomfortable rises the highest, it's got to be true. She's an author, which means she's an authority figure. So that means don't think for yourself, just blindly believe what she says. But don't blindly believe what I just said about blindly believing what she says because she's an author. You get that? But I love the question, and thank you for letting me give just a crumb of food for thought. How do you handle regret? Yeah, for me, we have to grieve our regret, allow it to be there. I think a lot of times when we're making meaningful life decisions, like, do I choose this or do that? Do I stay in the relationship or do I leave? Do I start this business or not? No matter what we choose, joke's on us, we will have regret. If we stay in the relationship, part of us will always think about, well, what could have been with someone else? So we'll have regret. If we leave the relationship, a different part of us will have regret. Think, I left the relationship and the security of it. What could have been if I just stuck it out? So for me, regret is something that we need to make space for, not something that we need to worship, not something we need to get stuck in and dwell on and use as an excuse to be complacent and not do anything else. But regret, I think, deserves to be grieved and processed. Do I like Minecraft? Never played it. Let's see. Well, there's some dirty comments in there. This is YouTube. Welcome to, you can say anything and have no ramifications, as we're all hiding behind our screens and keyboards, including me. Let's see. How old is my desk? It's an intriguing question. It's like 2 years old. Its second birthday is coming up, actually, in early June. I'm glad you brought that up. What is my preferred firearm of choice? I don't like guns. So no firearm is my firearm of choice. Do I meditate? Yes, I do meditate, usually 12 minutes in the morning. And why I like doing 12-minute meditations is because I'll actually do it. When I've tried, this is just my personal stuff here, my personal deficits, if you will. I used to try to meditate for 20 minutes, and even before that, 30 minutes a day, actually even before that, 45 minutes a day. And just my consistency with the meditation, because it took so long, was super inconsistent. So I personally, I enjoy as, okay, what length of time will I realistically meditate? And I found 12 minutes. So I find more benefit in doing a shorter meditation more consistently rather than a longer meditation inconsistently. What's your opinion on GMOs? Thank you, Linda, for your question. I don't like them. Yeah, it scares me, actually. I won't get too opinionated on you other than to say I go under a fear response about the concept surrounding GMOs. And I'm all about power to the people, and the fact that it's illegal to label GMOs in the US is, I mean, it just kind of, I peed my pants just then. It scared me so much. So that's what it makes me do. Let's see. What do I think about atheists? I'm all for people, period. I don't get against people for what they believe or what they don't believe. I am very pro people, period. Let's see. I'm going to go for just another minute or two. We're going to wrap up, but let me just see if I can capture another question or two. loving you guys, and I appreciate all you guys writing your questions in, comments, dirty comments even, because you need to feel important too. I appreciate you guys commenting all of this, and I realize I'm able to only like speak to and acknowledge a fraction of it. So if I've overlooked you, just know it doesn't mean you're insignificant. It just means in this lightning fast feed that's blitzing across my screen, my delusional blue eyes can only pick up so much. Alan Watts is cool or what? I would definitely erase the question mark and the word what and say Alan Watts is cool. At least I think his work is really cool. And I like the fact that he had a significant shadow side. Like he died of alcoholism, which I think is a really important lesson to truly appreciate the context of his work. Like realizing like someone who like brought so much great information into the world, Alan Watts, he had a pretty real ego too, a pretty real shadow side. So for me, taking like a lesson of Alan Watts dying of alcoholism, even though people like to put him on a pedestal, to me is a sort of like a life lesson or a spiritual teacher lesson. Don't put anybody on a pedestal. We all poop out of our buttholes. We're all human. We all have our shit, and our shit stinks. Pardon my language, but it's necessary here. Yeah. And, well, I'll just leave it at that, now that I've said the word shit twice, 3 times now. Let's see. Wow, I love that. Can I make a video about how to be a true Redditor? So someone on Reddit. It is very synchronous. I did just put that on my to make video list, which is super long, so I have no idea when that'll be out. But I like how great minds think alike. Demented minds think alike too. Last question, favorite music? I love that question. I'm gonna have to give you a few examples. Dave Matthews is definitely right up there, probably the top of the list. And then from there, I love Dustin Thomas. I love Nako Bear. I love Trevor Hall. I love a lot of music, but those are the 3 or 4 artists that are, yeah, they add a lot of levity to me. My experience of them does anyway. I don't know what they do. Yeah, Becca, thank you for being on. Pedro, thank you for being on. Ocho, thank you for being on. Jack, Joggy, Emilio, thank you for being on. Guatemala City, Dog, Steve, Neff, Mark, isn't rock violent? Depends on how hard you throw the rock, but thank you for being on. Montanamine, thank you for being on. My astrological sign is Aries. Sorry if I didn't answer that before, and if I did, then sorry that I said sorry. I'm still Aries, no matter how sorry I am, and no matter how sorry I am for being sorry. Daniel Beher, thank you for being on. Brother David Wilson, thank you for being on. Jazza, thank you for being on. Riley Tao Jones, nice name, brother. I love that. Or sister, whoever you are. Julian, Thomas, Maria, Dallas, love you guys. Tyler, yeah, I love you guys. As conditional as my delusional heart is, I do believe that I love you guys, your support. So I appreciate you tuning in here and for just being a part of what I express on my channel. What I do is 50% of it. Who receives it is the other 50%. So I appreciate you guys doing the dance with me. And I appreciate you taking the time tonight to be a part of this live chat. I'll be looking forward to talking with you guys super soon.